This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
I think the charter schools are a good thing. I don't think that zip code should determine a child's education.
Creating more school choice or funneling money away from the public schools. A new Florida law requires school districts to give a share of their local tax revenue to charter schools. It is creating debate around the state over how to fund these schools. We'll hear from those on both sides. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on funding for charter schools coming up, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight in Sarasota with the dramatic rescue of a construction worker dangling from a high-rise in downtown Sarasota. The second time the fire department has had to perform this type of high-wire rescue in less than a month. The worker trapped 10 stories up this afternoon after a scaffolding malfunctioned at the 624 Palm condominium project on South Palm Avenue. 2 other men were able to escape before the collapse. Since the windows were hurricane grade, firefighter Mike Keene had to be lowered 8 stories to the worker's location. The pair slowly worked their way to the ground. A motor on the scaffolding is said to have been the cause of the collapse.
We do have people on site that are going to take a look at those motors to see if there's things that can be done to prevent this in the future. That is an industry issue, and we're here to take care of the issues as they arrive, and we did so today.
Last month, another worker had to be pulled to the roof of the new Westin Hotel when the scaffolding snapped. New developments on the deadly house fire in Venice. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is identifying the victim as 54-year-old Jeffrey Guffey. He died after his home caught fire early Saturday morning. Neighbors say they heard him screaming inside. One person tried crawling inside the home but couldn't reach Guffey in time. 2 deputies were taken to the hospital with smoke inhalation. Both were treated and released. The state fire marshal's office says it might have been an electrical fire. The investigation continues. Meanwhile, Venice residents continue to deal with the threat of coyotes. These photos taken by Daniel Cole appear to show a coyote walking around a neighborhood. In the past, coyotes have attacked small dogs and chased after pedestrians. Florida Fish and Wildlife says removing them isn't an option. Officials say if they're captured, more could come in and take their place. Police are urging folks to keep their distance if they see coyotes. A follow-up on a Rotundo man attacked by an alligator on a golf course. Scott Lahodick remains in a Lee Memorial Hospital. Lahodick had been hired by the Rotundo Golf and Country Club to retrieve golf balls from its ponds. He says he swam with the very alligator that bit him several times prior to the attack. Lahodick says the 10-foot gator bit him on the arm and rolled him several times. He was able to punch it in the nose and get away. Doctors expect him to regain full function of his arm and are monitoring for infections. Mosquito populations are rising across the Suncoast, putting a strain on local resources. The mosquito control director in Sarasota describes June as a nightmare month for him and his crew. Heavy rains and warm temperatures causing the number of insects to spike. With only a handful of technicians, spraying efforts have been difficult. Right now, the county is free of disease-carrying mosquitoes, but one species is driving the increase.
One species in particular, it's Culex nigerpalpus. The good thing about them is they're not very keen to bite humans. They're not aggressive at all, but they really love to fly around you and they like to hang out at your door. But we've seen just massive increases in the populations.
Contact mosquito control. If you see large populations in your area, you can report problems by calling 941-861-5000. Invasive lionfish have plagued the Gulf of Mexico for years, but now there is 1,000 fewer of them in Suncoast waters thanks to this year's Lionfish Derby. Lionfish fish have no known predators and decimate the population of smaller fish, which are key to the marine ecosystem. This weekend, 15 teams of divers speared a record number of lionfish. Divers warn these fish are venomous and must be caught with spears since they can't go after hooks. And this season, the full season, getting ready for hurricane season, Florida Light and Power is making improvements to the electrical grid to get the Suncoast ready for storms. One of the projects involves replacing wooden power poles with concrete ones. However, the company is facing backlash for doing its work after 10 p.m. in residential areas. Crews are using floodlights and drills to upgrade 39 power poles in the city of Sarasota. The company says the city government asked them to work at night to avoid causing traffic problems.
They were here in the middle of the night and, you know, the lights are coming in your house.
So that was a little inconvenient, but honestly, if they're bettering the community, I'm all for it.
The city did not respond to our requests for comment. And of course, there are a lot of things trending out in the oceans this time of year, Bob.
That's right, and hardening up those power poles really helps out when a storm is around. Obviously, the biggest problem after a storm moves through is the power is out, and that causes all sorts of other headaches down the road. So if they can stop that from happening, we're in a lot better shape. No storms out there right now, but in terms of hurricanes, but we have some very big storms moved through earlier today, starting at around 4 o'clock, 3:34 through Northport, moving up through Venice, producing up to 3.5 inches of rain in a short period of time. That eventually moved into another storm in Manatee County near Parrish, Ellington, and eastern portions of Bradenton and Palmetto. Right now, it's light rain that's occurring. No real severe weather around. An occasional lightning strike has been showing up, but not recently, not in the last 10 minutes. So it looks like that may be over in Sarasota. It could still linger, though, in Bradenton and Palmetto. You may see a rogue lightning strike here or there. Look at these rainfall totals, 3.1 inches. That's near Bee Ridge, all the way down to Clark Road near I-75. 3.9 near the Venetian and along I-75 just east of Venice. Northport, also near Sumter Boulevard, they had some heavy rainfall there. Well, more rain is in store for us as the old remnant low, tropical depression number 4, just north of San Juan. You see that there? In the bottom right of your screen. That moisture is going to be moving in our direction and should be on our doorstep on Thursday. So that will increase our rain chances significantly down the road. Tomorrow, though, we'll get back to the basics. Afternoon and evening storms mainly. 75 right now, dew point 72. Still getting light rain at the airport. The relative humidity is high as you would expect during a rainstorm, and the pressure 30.06 inches. And that is still high, but has been falling ever so slightly. So the story today, a couple of severe weather warnings, no damage associated. We had some hail reported in Northport and heavy rainfall in excess of 3 inches. So that's a pretty big storm system. More can be expected tomorrow. We'll have more on that a little later.
Oh, that's just wonderful. Thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, finally funding charters. A new state law requires school districts to set aside local tax dollars for charter schools. Why are local school board members objecting to the change? We'll explain when we return.
Ever since I can remember, I've been intrigued by industrial design and the optimization.
Wait, that's passion? Ever since I can remember, my passion has been industrial design. We need 3D printers for Miss Adams' engineering program so that we are ready to solve 21st century challenges.
Impressive. Think It Up is a new initiative to support student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classroom today? Think It Up.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-622-1941. 800-622-1941.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Start your day with a new Good Morning Suncoast team. Weekdays starting at 5 a.m.
The controversy over the new state education budget didn't end with the governor signing it into law. Across Florida, local school boards are trying to deal with the provision requiring school districts to share funding with charter schools. Kate Flexter joins us with more. Kate.
Well, thanks, Alan. The law came up in the final hour of this year's legislative session, passing the state Senate by just one vote. And now it's facing resistance from local educators.
Despite strong opposition from school boards and superintendents across the state, a sweeping new education bill is now law in Florida, an effort pushed by House Speaker Richard Corcoran and signed by Governor Rick Scott.
I think the whole bill is out of whack with what needs to be happening for education.
But before it became law, Chairwoman of the Sarasota County School Board, Caroline Zucker, personally wrote to the governor asking him to veto this bill. The lengthy law calls for things like mandatory recess and additional teacher bonuses. But the provision that drew the most opposition, a call for districts to share millions of local taxpayer dollars with private charter schools. In total, the Associated Press reports Florida charter schools will receive more than $96 million this year alone under this new law. Last week, the Broward County School Board voted to sue over the measure, saying the new law is unconstitutional.
They're not giving us enough money for us to be able to keep up with the rising costs. They're not.
As Florida's population booms, Zucker says building new schools is imperative. But plans to purchase a $10 million piece of property for a new school are now on hold until next year to accommodate this piece of legislation.
I don't understand why Tallahassee won't allow us to do what we think is best for our community.
A large part of the law creates the Schools of Hope program, which offers financial incentives to charter schools willing to take on students from failing public schools. It's a program proponents say would mean a big jump in educational opportunities for thousands of Florida students, specifically those living in low-income neighborhoods.
I think the charter schools are a good thing. I don't think that zip code should determine a child's education.
Manatee County School Board member John Colon says charter schools are public schools too and are entitled to taxpayer dollars.
I think competition is good, and I think it only makes our public schools stronger.
But Zucker says this new law clearly prioritizes charter schools over public education.
I think the ultimate is to eliminate public education as we know it today.
As to whether or not the Sarasota County School Board will join Broward County in filing that lawsuit, Zucker says it's something that will be discussed at their next meeting.
Kate, thank you. And coming up, a member of the Sarasota School Board and a critic of pulling public money from public schools when we take it to the trapezoid.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
It's fine that other people like you. It's more important that you like yourself. And I'm comfortable with every part of me. Meals on Wheels coming to my door as someone who's housebound assures me that I'm not forgotten. They care that I'm okay. My name is Asha Ida Bell. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
There was this big bruise on my friend's face. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to think her own nephew could have hit her.
I didn't want to see it. My mother's bank account was emptied, and a caregiver had taken control of it.
I didn't want to see it. My father's refrigerator. There was hardly anything in it. That's unusual for him.
It's tough to see that a senior citizen is being abused, physically, emotionally, sexually, or financially. Elder abuse is a crime.
So see the signs. Stop the crimes.
Welcome back. How much of an impact will funding charter schools have on public education here in Florida? According to the State House, collectively, school districts will have an estimated $1.4 billion in their budgets this coming school year. The new education law sets aside nearly 7% for charters. That's about $96 million. Sarasota County schools districts list 11 charter schools in the county. However, not all the charter schools are eligible for the funds. They must meet financial and academic performance standards and have been operating for the last 2 years. And joining us for more on charter school funding is Bridget Ziegler, Vice Chair of the Sarasota County School Board, Manatee School Board member Dave Watchdog Minor, and Gabriel Hammond, who is a member of the Financial Committee for Sarasota County. Thank you all for joining us. Bridget, let me start with you, because you heard Caroline Zucker express concern that this is taking money out of the public school budget, money that is needed for programs, personnel, and everything that you need to do to run a school system. But you are in favor of the bill which is now law.
Well, so I want to clarify one thing that was articulated at the beginning, at the top of the opening segment, and it was discussed as, or labeled as, private charter schools. I want to be very clear that that is an inaccurate statement. Okay. Charter schools are public schools, and so defining that distinction should be taken care of right off the bat. And so taking money away, again, I think that's wordsmithing. We should be focused on public school students and funding them accordingly as to where they go to school.
Well, you're saying wordsmithing, but the fact is that there will be less money available for public schools that are traditionally part of the public school system than there was before.
So they'd still all be public schools. I think the distinction is district managed schools, and then you have charter schools, which are separate but publicly funded and for public school students.
Dave, the Manatee County School Board was so concerned about the law before it was signed in by Governor Scott that you wrote a letter to the governor urging him to veto it.
Yes, our school board, every member, it was unanimous asking him to veto this legislation. Our board is not opposed to, sharing money with charter schools as well, in addition to our traditional schools. That isn't the question. The question is how it's used, and is it used for a need? We oppose the idea that public money would go to a charter school, and it may go to, not based on need, but based upon the number of students. That's the formula of 7069. It doesn't make sense. We don't build a school if there's not a need. If there's not a need for something at a charter school, we don't think that public money should be used for that. We also oppose the idea that if public money is used to build something at a public school, that should still revert back to the public if something happens to that charter school. That is not the law that was passed in this reckless fashion by the legislature. And I sent an email to Senator Galvano asking him to say, sit down with me and let's see how we can make this better for the students and our whole state. I haven't heard back from him, but things like that. I don't think the public likes to have their money misused. They don't like to give away buildings, to other people if they're not getting a return.
Gabriel, let me talk to you about your perspective here, and I know that you also talk a lot to the teachers union in terms of their expressed concerns about this. Caroline, Bridget said that all charter schools are public schools. There's a lot of people who support charter schools, especially when there are schools that are failing. And I know in Sarasota County we're blessed So what is the basis of that concern?
Well, Alan, the truth is I've been running around the district asking stakeholders, parents, teachers, what is best for the district, and they are in opposition to House Bill 7069. Unfortunately, from Washington to Tallahassee, down to the even local school district, there is a concerted, orchestrated effort to privatize public education, and this bill was the first step. Unfortunately,
Let me just stop you there. I mean, has there been any kind of scientific polling to determine where people are at in terms of the public funding to charter schools, especially here in Sarasota County?
Well, what I can tell you is that House Bill 7069 was not done in the sunshine. It was put together at the last minute without public input by a handful of legislators up in Tallahassee, some of them who benefit directly from the for-profit management companies that operate charters in the southern part of the state.
Can I add to what he said about benefiting privately and some of the legislators? And it's not just the Speaker of the House, but Manny Diaz down in Hialeah. He collects a six-figure income as an operating officer of the Doral College charter school. You have House Speaker Richard Corcoran, whose wife founded a charter school up in Pasco County. Michael Baleka chairs. It goes on and on what the private gain.
We are just getting started with this conversation.
Okay, well, I'm just saying there's a lot of conflict of interest, and people say, you know, where's the ethics with our legislature in passing this? And those are reasonable questions.
We are going to pick it up right after we check on the weather, so please stay with us.
Okay, thank you.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-990-3613. That's 1-800-990-3613. Call now, 1-800-990-3613.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now, we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
I am a veteran. My victory was finding the strength to be a champion.
My victory is having a job I can be proud of.
At DAV, we help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
My victory was finishing my education.
My victory was getting help to put our lives back together.
DAV provides veterans with a lifetime of support.
My victory is being there for my family.
Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Download ABC7's all-new official Suncoast weather app onto all your devices so you can stay informed wherever you go. With our full-featured all-new weather app, you can get weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, traffic maps, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. ABC7's all-new official Suncoast weather app, sponsored by Mr. Sparky. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download yours today.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. We're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Go, okay, quick. Oh, yeah. Yes. So much fun. Mwah.
Our discussion of public funds for charter schools continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Alan. Some big storms earlier today. 2 o'clock, it was nice, lots of sunshine out there, and then all of a sudden, just after 3 o'clock, storms started building to the south and moving off toward the northwest, and it came heavy too. Up to 3 inches of rain fell in just a short period of time. There were flood advisories. There were a couple of severe weather warnings, but those have all since expired now. And just some light rainfall lingering across parts of Sarasota County up into Manatee and Bradenton. We can see some showers there. The heavy weather is well to the north now with some big storms approaching on in through Ocala, but that rainfall is rather light from Siesta Key through Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, still getting some light rain. Palmetto and Bradenton and even Northwest Bradenton now, some light to moderate precipitation. Not a lot of lightning going on right now. We're going to turn and do it all again tomorrow. It looks like similar conditions anticipated. Well, in the tropics, all is fairly quiet right now. August, really, things start to kick up, but we're watching this tropical disturbance. It looks like it has a chance at 20% in the next 5 days of becoming a tropical depression or possibly a tropical storm as it enters into the Caribbean. And then the remnants of 4 looking rather healthy right now, and that is moving off to the west. And what that may do is enhance our rain chances, especially come Thursday and Friday, as the remnant low moves across South Florida. And with that nearby, it always gives us a little bit better chance of more widespread rain and torrential rain at that. Well, the satellite imagery showing a lot of cloud cover today, and now that cloud cover still hanging around. Even some light rain at the airport at 75 degrees. We have a north wind at 7 and the pressure 30.06 inches. The high today was 1 degree above the average, and this morning's low, that too running just a little bit above it. 74 now in Jacksonville. It's cooled down to 75. Nice comfortable temperatures due to the rain across the area, all in the mid to upper 70s right now, although we have some 80s in the Highlands County, in Sebring, and in Lake Placid. Well, the forecast Tuesday calling for a chance. Now, there'll be a chance for some late morning, early afternoon showers. Not a lot of rough storms then. The bigger storms come late in the day after 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll see a better chance for the more widespread rain event tomorrow afternoon. But tonight, showers ending after midnight, skies clearing, and then we'll start off with some sunshine in the morning. I mentioned then by 11, 12 o'clock, there's a chance to see a few showers, and then more of it moving back toward the coast later on in the day. For boaters tomorrow, looks good. Winds will be generally light out of the southeast, turning to the south, and then eventually to the west with that sea breeze. And the Gulf water temperature now at 90 degrees. That's hot, and looks like the forecast tides upcoming 9:37 for the next low tide, and another low tide at 8:08. Tonight, evening storms winding down, then partly cloudy after midnight. 75 for your low. Tomorrow, just a good chance for late day storms, mainly heat index up near 100. And the extended forecast calling for less of a chance on Wednesday, better chances Thursday through the weekend. Alan will be right back after this.
Anyone can jumpstart your car, but for free installation and $10 off Duracell Ultra car batteries, there's no one like Batteries Plus bulbs.
I'll install it myself.
I'd like you to do it.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
Watch ABC7 wherever you are. Just search ABC7 on your streaming device to keep up with the Suncoast from the comfort of your couch. Download ABC7 now to watch us on TV anytime you want. ABC7, we're here for you wherever you are.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing a new comprehensive education law signed into law by Governor Rick Scott, which requires school districts to shift local tax dollars towards charter schools. Our guests tonight are Bridget Ziegler of the Sarasota County School Board, Dave Watchdog Minor of the Manatee County School Board, and Gabriel Hammond, who is a member of the Financial Advisory Committee for the County of Sarasota. You know, as we reported in Kate's story, Broward County is filing a lawsuit against the state for, in one reason, they complain that the law restricts the district's right to operate, control, and supervise all schools, and its property tax sharing measure violates the state's constitution because charters are not permitted to collect property taxes. Bridget, if the schools are receiving tax dollars but are not controlled or managed in any way by elected leaders like yourself, doesn't that, as Broward County suggests, violate the state constitution?
I personally, my interpretation, I do not agree, and I think that you have to understand that as an elected body from the local school board, you're a constitutional officer, and you interview. There's a whole process for charters to be approved, and you scrutinize them, make sure their financials are in place, you make sure their curriculum is in place, and they have a series of standards, and then you approve them. And the purpose is for them to have more autonomy. And there's a number of other elements of 7069 for district managed schools that bring back that autonomy. And I think that the intent and the purpose is that you see more schools thrive when there's less of a stranglehold. And I do want to get back to something that Gabe had said earlier, was the privatizing education. And I just get frustrated with that because I don't know why it's always an us versus them, because I think ultimately high quality school choice options are what should be applauded for. And when I talk to a number of parents daily and stakeholders all around, and choice is often very, very celebrated, and I think it creates a better environment.
Hold on one second. I want to give Gabe a chance to respond. I also want to point out you're on the financial advisory panel for the school board, so I wanted to correct that.
You can't advocate for an expansion of school choice at the same time lowering expenditures for high-performing public schools such as those in Sarasota County. Right now, the district is having to make some hard choices because of this piece of legislation out of Tallahassee, including, in the next 2 years, taking out $30 million in debt just to keep up with new school construction because of the increase in population locally. Taking out $30 million forces the district over a 20-year period to pay on average $800,000 per year in interest payments. So we're transferring money from our schools, our taxpayers, our children's future, to bondholders, to Wall Street bankers. Whose side are our local leaders on?
That's a great question. One of the things that is a result of this legislation is that the cost of borrowing this money goes up. Moody's Investor Services, which rates bonds, has come out, and I have a copy of this letter, and they note the negative impact upon public borrowing of this legislation. Negative impact means that we have to take money that otherwise would go into building schools, to pay interest on bonds that are borrowed to build schools. That's bad for everyone. Just everything about this.
Let's pose it as a question, because obviously, people may be for choice, may want to have more control over where they send their kids, but we also have to balance our checkbooks. And if this is taking money away or making it more difficult for the school department to pay its bills, obviously, companies like Moody's are seeing this as a negative.
Okay, so there's a couple things. What's amazing to me, the conversation is always about money, and we are not even talking about why are there more choices, and it's because the outcomes or the environment is not what certain parents or students are allowing them to thrive. So for me, as a public school board member that's overseeing or there to support the constituents of all of Sarasota County, all of the stakeholders, I want to empower families to make those decisions because it's all about student success. That's what we're there for. It's not about money.
No, nobody disagrees with
that. But we always get back to the conversation of money, but we're never talking about students not succeeding in their schools. And why is that not outraging people?
Well, why is it in charter schools, students sometimes don't succeed? We've had to close down, some charter schools because they didn't do that.
Disagree.
And our school board is all for choice. It supports, it shares money. In fact, from our half-cent sales tax for capital improvements. We've been sharing millions of dollars with charter schools, but we want it used responsibly. And this bill doesn't provide in it provision for using it responsibly. It's a cash register for private interest of our legislators.
Gabriel, is there any estimation how, in terms of expenditures, what money goes where is going to be affected in Sarasota in terms of whether it's construction or maintenance or programs?
Well, the district has had to make a number of hard choices because of this heavy-handed piece of legislation coming out of Tallahassee, including pushing off new construction and the purchase of land for a new high school because Riverview and Venice High are getting real crowded now. So we got to look at where we're going to build a new high school. Instead of doing that next year, we're going to do that in 2 years.
But if I may, we have pushed back a number of our projects to deal with our capacity issues because enrollment is not at the level which we predicted it be. So that inevitably would likely have to be evaluated anyhow.
So there is no impact, are you saying, in terms
I certainly think that that's an impact that we have to evaluate, but it follows the demand of what various families are seeking. So I think that's our job, and as any other company would do, based on what the consumer, if you will, is utilizing, you have to adjust accordingly. And I think that we can have amazing district-managed schools and great charter schools at the same time. And you brought up the $30 million bond, which is on our capital improvement plan for next week, and it was just a brief conversation. So I think our district, we have to do further vetting to discuss what our alternative options.
Despite what you say there, you indicated to me earlier that there may well be enough votes on the school board to join that Broward County lawsuit.
That's pure speculation. I have absolutely no idea.
So
it hasn't been brought up.
Fellow board members, some of whom disagree with what you're saying here,
I mean,
strongly.
I don't ever speak for other board members. I would say it would be ultimately held up and to see what this discussed on Tuesday.
Dave, do you have any indication whether Manatee would join this lawsuit?
I think there's total sympathy with what Broward has contemplated. They haven't filed a lawsuit. The pleadings, or they haven't drafted the pleadings, but they have sent out a memorandum talking about why it would be justified, and it's very compelling arguments why there should be, I call it judicial interpretation. That is, if you read Article 9 of the Florida Constitution, Section 4, says the school board shall operate, control, and supervise all free public schools with the school district. Bridget says, they're public schools, of course they are. And what this bill does is, according to the statute, it conflicts with the Florida Constitution.
And that's what I don't understand about this argument, because usually a lot of people, especially people who are conservative, Republican, believe in local control. You don't want Washington telling you what to do, Tallahassee telling you what to do, but here you have a new law that basically takes away the say of local educators and parents and elected folks like yourself to make local decisions.
Well, it's unfortunate. In Tallahassee, we have a Republican-dominated state house. We have a Republican-dominated Senate, and the governor's mansion is occupied by a Republican. And there's a special provision that comes out every year from the legislature known as the Public Education Capital Outlay Fund. And right now in the district of Sarasota County, there are 15% of the students in charter schools. They're receiving $1.7 million from that pool. 85% of students are in traditional public schools. They get $1.1 million. So the numbers are way out of whack, and it's just unfair for our public school students.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's topic, President Trump's trip to the G20 summit and his meeting with Vladimir Putin.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is accepting calls to see if you're eligible to enroll now. You may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't delay. Call to see if you're eligible to enroll and may be able to get extra benefits now. Call 800-711-7200. That's 800-711-7200.
Call to see if you qualify to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan right now. At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and co-insurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans. And prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-800-558-8779.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Welcome back. Should charter schools be treated like public schools? Do they deserve a share of local tax dollars? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. So, Bridget, what do you want people who are watching this right now to take away from this very animated conversation?
Well, first and foremost, I want everyone to agree and recognize that charter schools are public schools, even there when you said it. But ultimately, I want people to understand in Sarasota County specifically, I'm really proud of what we have accomplished, both in our district managed and charter schools. We have an amazing partnership, and I think that's what allows them to thrive. But fundamentally, as this discussion goes forward, it's all about the money, following the student, and letting those choices be up to the families.
What's to disagree with there, Dave?
Well, I think the problem is this bill doesn't do just that. It is harmful overall. It needs a lot of medical attention in Tallahassee in a sense that it should be serving the people, not the legislators' selfish interests. The original bills, both in the House and the Senate, contained provisions that barred conflict of owners, of anybody working there, benefiting from the public money. This bill that was passed, stripped those ethical provisions away. That's not good. Right. We need to have reforms in education that this takes away.
Gabriel, you get the last word.
The bottom line is this bill usurps and diminishes local control of our school district and policy making here in Sarasota County. It will also force our district to go deep into debt, pay bondholders instead of investment in technology and more teachers in our classrooms. And you know what my father told me? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have an excellent school district in Sarasota County.
Before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about Friday's topic, our analysis of President Trump's trip to the G20 summit. On Friday, President Trump held his first face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The bilateral talks lasted more than 2 hours, according to Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. President Trump repeatedly pushed Putin on Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. We asked you what you thought about the meeting, and Cheryl Katie writes, "I am proud to be an American." Gail Williams writes, "Amazing accomplishments today between our president and Putin, and no red line here, just respect." But Kevin Komanga writes, up to 2 days ago, Trump denied Russia was involved. 2 days ago, he said Russia and others were involved in, he insulted our intelligence and community and former president on the world stage. Do you think he was winking about it when he talked to Putin about it? Well, what do you think about giving local tax dollars to public schools? Join the conversation on tonight's topic by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions. They're on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to all our guests for being here tonight. Bridget Ziegler is the Vice Chair of the Sarasota County School Board. Dave Watchdog Miner is on the Manatee County School Board, and Gabriel Hammond is on the Financial Advisory Committee for the Sarasota County Public School District. When we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, freed at massive cost, ISIS has been forced out of Iraq's second largest city, but it is now in ruins. We'll have the latest from Mosul in our primetime headlines.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. And now, for a limited time, get a $20 credit on any new line of service. Call 1-800-468-1930. Go to consumercellular.com or visit a Target store today.
I'm Cindy Lou. I'm Susie. I'm Missy. And I'm Betty Jean. And we're the Marvelous Wonderettes. Mr. Sandman.
Experience the best girl group songs from the 50s and 60s live on stage at the Players Center July 12th through the 23rd. Call 941-365-2494 or visit us at theplayers.org. You'll fall in love with the Marvelous Wonderettes.
I'm so alone.
ABC7, My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are, on our live stream, on our newly redesigned MySuncoast.com, and a brand new ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes and all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit MySuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, after an active, very active afternoon, things are calming down. They've calmed down over the last hour or two. High pressure continues to situate itself just off the coast here, and that's bringing us that southeasterly component. And that really fired up this afternoon. There's plenty of moisture in place and lots of heat today. Those factors coming into play and really creating some big storms. We had some small hail reported near Northport just before 4 p.m. And then also on top of that, we had some very heavy rainfall in the excess of 3 inches in some areas. I know a weather observer at the Venetian there, just off of Interstate 75 near Laurel, had 2¼ inches of rainfall. And so all that, for the most part, is done. We're still getting some light rain, but not a lot. And that is occurring from, say, right there at Longboat Key northward through Anna Maria Island, Palmetto, Braden. Still getting some moderate to light rainfall, but not a lot of heavy weather at this point. The showers that were intense earlier have since moved on. Well, we're in the tropical season, obviously. July, not really a very active month. It's August more so, and we're watching this tropical wave now that is in the Atlantic. It's moving to the west. Indications are that there may be something popping up there. The chance is only 20% in the next 5 days. And then this is more important, I think, for our weather over the next couple of days. This is a remnant low, and that is forecast to move right over us on Thursday and could enhance our storms Thursday and Friday. Right now it's light rain at the airport, 75, north winds at 7, and the pressure is falling slightly but still very high. 91 the high today and 90 the average, 96 the record. Temperatures have cooled nice, and it's a nice evening. 75 degrees right now with that rain cooled air around, all in the mid-70s here from Punta Gorda all the way through Bradenton now. Inglewood at 77, the Gulf temperature 90, and Sebring at 80 degrees and 81 now at Lake Placid. The forecast for Tuesday calls for a nice day throughout most of it. Late morning, early afternoon shower or two possible, but more so in the late afternoon and evening is when we'll see the big storms that have the potential for dropping some very heavy rainfall, frequent lightning, and some gusty winds. Well, southeast winds turn to the south and then eventually to the west, anywhere from 5 to 10 knots. Low tide upcoming, and a sunset not too long from now, 8:28. Sunrise will be at 6:43. Some evening storms, well, let's call them showers, and then 75 and clearing skies after midnight. Partly cloudy tomorrow, a chance for mainly late afternoon and evening storms. There could be a few As I said, late morning, early afternoon showers, the high of 91. The extended forecast calling for less of a chance on Wednesday. There'll still be 1 or 2, but then we get into the thick of things as we move through Thursday and into the weekend. Alan will be right back after this. Stick around.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Ray Collins. The wait is over for one of the biggest internet sales of all time. That's Amazon Prime Day, with some of the biggest deals starting tonight at 9 p.m. We'll have details tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. Josh?
And will the tropics influence our rain chance later on this week? We'll have all the details coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
A decade of war has taken an unprecedented toll on our men and women in uniform.
Hundreds of thousands of our veterans are suffering from the trauma of war.
At Justice for Vets, we believe that every veteran should have the opportunity for treatment and restoration.
Get involved and go to justiceforvets.org.
Help put treatment within reach of veterans in crisis.
Veterans fought for our freedom. Now it's our turn to fight for theirs.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Now for your primetime headlines, there are new details about a meeting between candidate Donald Trump's inner circle and a Russian lawyer who with suspected ties to the Kremlin. Critics questioning why Donald Trump Jr. didn't initially disclose the meeting or why it took him a few attempts to explain the reasons behind it. ABC's Emily Rao has the latest from Washington.
Team Trump playing defense Monday after a New York Times report revealed the president's eldest son agreed to a meeting with a Russian lawyer in exchange for damaging information about Hillary Clinton. Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying nothing about Don Jr.'s meeting was inappropriate.
There was simply no collusion that they keep trying to create that there was.
Kellyanne Conway coming to his defense on GMA.
He didn't even know her name, though, George. He had no idea who this person was until she entered the room.
And now that detail raising eyebrows. Why Donald Jr. would agree to a meeting at Trump Tower with an unknown Russian lawyer who has ties to the Kremlin and invite two of the most powerful people on the Trump campaign, Paul Manafort and Jared Kushner, to join him. After first saying the purpose of the meeting was to discuss Russian adoptions, he now says it was to learn about information that would hurt Hillary Clinton. Trump Jr. saying the Russian attorney's statements about the Democrat were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense. When the topic turned to Russian adoptions, he claims the meeting ended. Democrats not satisfied.
This revelation should be the end of the idea pushed by the administration and the president that there is absolutely no evidence of an intent by the Trump campaign to coordinate or collude.
But Republican Senator Roger Wicker downplaying its significance on CNN.
I just think that's pretty much of a great big nothing.
Donald Trump Jr. has now hired an attorney to represent him in the Russia probe. He also tweeted that he'd be happy to work with the Senate Intelligence Committee to share what he knows. Emily Rao, ABC News, Washington.
The clock is ticking again on Republican efforts to repeal and replace Obamacare. Senate Republicans returning to Capitol Hill today. At least 10 GOP senators are not supporting the new health care bill, which would effectively kill chances of its passage. But some senators say there is still hope to repeal Obamacare.
I believe Republicans can come together to honor that promise. And I think the way to do it is to focus on lowering premiums.
President Trump is positive Congress will get this new bill passed, tweeting today, "I cannot imagine that Congress would dare to leave Washington without a beautiful new health care bill, fully approved and ready to go." Now to Iraq, where for the first time in 3 years, Mosul is no longer under the control of ISIS. National forces backed by a U.S.-led coalition retook the city after 9 months of fierce fighting. Iraqis now face the task of what to do with their second largest city, much of which has been reduced to rubble. ISIS still controls cities to the west of Mosul, but the victory takes away their biggest stronghold in the country. Here in Florida, a couple is recovering after a brush with death when their plane landed upside down in a lake. It happened over the weekend on Lake Ashby in Volusia County. The Ohio company was attempting an amphibious landing when their plane flipped and nearly went underwater. A nearby boater rescued them. The couple was taken to a hospital where they were treated for facial injuries. Florida's Department of Highway Safety is releasing data on a preventable cause of major accidents. According to the agency, there were more than 4,300 tire-related car accidents in the state last year. They resulted in 57 deaths and nearly 1,500 injuries. Some of the most common issues including people driving on underinflated tires, not having enough tread, and driving on old tires. Florida Highway Patrol says the heat and rain of the summer can cause tire-related accidents to spike.
It's the first point of contact with the roadway, so we want to make sure that they're, that they're in good condition, that they're not dry rotted, and then again properly inflated. That way, while the vehicle's traveling, the tires start to heat up. They will be able to accommodate that vehicle's load.
Highway Patrol officers recommend having a spare tire in your car to respond to issues when they arise. And here on the Suncoast, the number of fatal crashes are down compared to last year. According to new data, in Sarasota County, there were more than 1,300 crashes in the first 6 months of this year. Those crashes resulted in 16 fatalities compared to 39 fatalities in the first 6 months of 2016. Florida's Highway Patrol is putting on its safe summer travel campaign, asking drivers to slow down and avoid distracted driving. And that's all the time we have. I'm Alan Cohn.